Champions Mojo is part of the CG Sports Network.
Welcome to Champions Mojo, a podcast to bring out your inner champion. Your hosts are sisters-in-law Kelly Pallas and Maria Parker. Kelly is a former Division I head swim coach, Olympic trials qualifier, and holds national and world records in masters swimming. Maria holds world records in endurance cycling and won the world's toughest bike race, Race Across America. Both are certified health and life coaches. Our goal is to inspire you through conversations with champions. And now, your host, Kelly Pallas.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Champions Mojo podcast. Maria and I are excited today to talk to you about something that can really help your health. We know that sugar addiction is a problem among so many of us, Maria and I included. And I'm just going to say it outright. Sugar is poison for our bodies. We are finding out just how terrible sugar is and all the damage that it can do. So today, listen to the things that sugar can do terribly to our health, and then decide if you would like to substitute some of the things that Maria and I are doing that will help you be able to have a sweet life and not ingest this horrible, toxic sugar. So, hey, Maria, it's great to be with you today. You ready to dig into this?
Sure. I've been really looking forward to it. You and I spend a lot of time talking about sugar and how we manage our sweet tooths. We both have a sweet tooth. We've talked about that. And I feel like I have just a full-on carbohydrate sugar addiction. So we've been sharing ideas for a long time. In the last few years, I feel like I'm really learning about this. So I'm excited to talk about this. Also, have learned a lot in the last few years about, as you said, just how truly damaging sugar in our diet is. And when we talk about sugar, we're really talking about mostly, added sugar in our foods. Sugar is usually a combination of fructose and sucrose, and the fructose part is especially damaging. So let me just start by talking about the current American diet, which is sometimes known as SAD, S-A-D, the standard American diet. According to the American Heart Association, adults consume an average of 77 grams of sugar. That's at least 3 times what is currently recommended or what we should have. And it's 100 times the amount of sugar from our diet from 200 years ago. So we eat a tremendous amount of sugar. You find it in everything. It's, of course, particularly dangerous and abundant in soft drinks or so-called fruit drinks or fruit aids. Of course, it's in candy, cakes, cookies, pies, dairy desserts, and ice cream. Sweetened yogurt is a particularly insidious place to find sugar, and of course, sweetened cereals, and a lot of quote so-called grains are actually just filled with sugar. And according to University of California, San Francisco, sugar is in 75% of packaged food sold in the supermarket. Even things that are sort of, you think of as savory or healthy, often have lots and lots of sugar in them. So tell us about some of the damages from sugar, Kelly.
Sure, Maria. And, you mentioned all those, cakes and pies and ice cream. We obviously know that those are bad. I mean, sometimes we'll treat ourselves now and then at a birthday party or something. And I think most people generally are going to stay away from a bowl of M&Ms and a big bowl of ice cream. Maybe not. Maybe,
I wouldn't say people are generally going to. No, I would disagree with that. I think a lot of people struggle.
I think that they know. I know that
they know it's not good for them.
Are sugary and
right.
that those are bad for them. But there's so much sugar in salad dressings and ketchups and
that's right.
packaged foods, and that we can be ingesting a ton of sugar that we don't even know about. So let's talk about the negative impacts that sugar has on our health. And the obvious one, which we all know, is it's going to cause you to gain weight. I mean, who wants to gain weight? It's not good. So that's the first one. The second one is it definitely increases your risk of heart disease. So high sugar diets lead to obesity, inflammation. They accelerate raise your triglycerides, your blood sugar, your blood pressure. It just increases all the risk from stroke to having a heart attack. One sugary drink a day can already put you over the recommended daily limit for added sugar.
That's amazing.
It's also interestingly, it's been linked to acne. So communities that consume traditional non-processed foods have non-existent rates of acne compared
That blows
to
my mind.
urban. Yeah, isn't that just amazing that if you suffer with acne, and I even think skin problems in general, getting off sugar is a way to improve that. So it increases your risk of type 2 diabetes. That is just a horrible disease. If you get diabetes, there are so many bad complications from, infections to diabetic neuropathy to having limbs amputated. I mean, people think, oh, I got diabetes. Well, you can avoid diabetes. Much of diabetes can be avoided, but it's not a pretty disease at all. Not something that you want to put yourself into. Some people get it genetically, but this is something that can be exacerbated by sugar. So we really want to stay away from that. It possibly can increase your risk of cancer. Excessive amounts of sugar certainly exacerbate cancers. And there's more, Maria. In fact, I think the ones you're going to talk about here are just probably the worst of the worst.
Right. I mean, one of the things this is kind of new science, that sugar, too much sugar ingestion leads to fatty liver disease. And we think of fatty liver disease as a disease of alcoholics, but the exact same disease can happen in people who eat too much sugar. And unfortunately, even small children, now they're identifying what they're calling a sugar belly, which we think of as like a beer belly. With sugar belly is the exact same disease. It's fatty liver from eating too much sugar. Part of the problem is we're getting a fructose overload. Fructose is the part of the sugar molecule that is very difficult for our bodies to digest, and has to be digested or processed in the liver. And that eating too much of that can cause fatty liver disease, which is terrifying.
Maria, before you go on to on the next one, I think some people think fructose is just fruit sugar, but it's not. It's the molecule in regular sugar that isn't processed by the liver. So some people think, and fruits, the sugar in fruit is definitely better. They have fructose, but we're talking about a different kind of fructose. So
right. I mean, it's right. It's very difficult to eat so much fructose in natural fruits to cause any damage to your liver.
Right.
But so sugar molecule is made up, like table sugar is made up, sucrose is made up of one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose. So it's half fructose. And that's where we're getting all of the damage. We're ingesting tremendous amounts of fructose if we eat a high sugar diet. So other health risks, kidney disease, of course, your dental health, you can more likely develop gout. One of the things that we've talked about a lot lately, and we're very concerned about, is it can accelerate cognitive decline. Sometimes people are calling cognitive decline type 3 diabetes, or Alzheimer's disease, sometimes called type 3 diabetes, because they think it might be a problem with too much sugar or not processing sugar well. It increases your risk of depression. The sugar swings, mood swings that you can get on when you're on a sugar high or a sugar crash can cause inflammation and severely impact your mental health. One of the things that I think for those of us who care a little bit about our skin and how we look, you should know that sugar can accelerate the skin aging process. It breaks down collagen and causes us to wrinkle faster. So, I mean, I remember when I was little, they talked about smoking, then they scared me away from smoking because I didn't want to look old and wrinkly. Well, sugar also causes wrinkles or increases that. And then it can increase cellular aging. And it drains your energy. Products that are loaded with sugar usually don't have protein or fiber or fat. And so you get a quick boost of energy followed by a crash, and then you have to eat more. So and we didn't even touch on all of the bad things that eating a high sugar diet can cause. But as Kelly discussed in the beginning, those of us who have a sweet tooth, you can still enjoy sweets and cut way back on your sugar. So Kelly, why don't you start with that?
Yes, I really have always seen, for whatever reason, I think maybe my mother scared me with sugar. I think my dad has always scared us about diabetes. Oh, don't eat sugar, you'll get diabetes. So I've really been an avoider of sweets. And I'm not a huge carb eater. I like carbs, but I'm not a huge carb eater. So I'm, having skin issues all my life. I know when I've eaten sugar, my skin can get worse. I don't, an old saying, Mama Miracle. I don't know if you remember Mom saying this, that Mama Miracle would get arthritis, and she would say, oh, when I eat too many sweets, my arthritis gets worse. So I kind of always avoided sugar. However, all that said, I love sweets, and I love a sweet taste. I love something sweet with my coffee. So I feel like there are so many available hacks today to eat sweet things, to find sweet replacements, that those are available. And I have found great cookies that are, have 2 grams. I try to limit my sugar, my added sugars, to under 20 grams a day, which you can, I've found great cookies that are called Healthy Vegan Bites. They're made like with oatmeal. You can make fat bombs. They're great recipes with fat bombs online. Many bars, like RawRev is a great bar. We'll put these in the show notes. They're keto bars that are delicious, Quest bars that are delicious that you can eat with coffee. And Lily's chocolate is another one that has 0 sugars, but it tastes really sweet. And you do have to adjust your sweetness level, which will happen. Like if you're used to eating a bowl of ice cream and then you eat, a lightly sweetened cookie, it's not going to taste as sweet. But if you just build into that, then it tastes amazing. So I think that one can still eat sweets, enjoy sweets, and have a healthy life without these huge grams of sugar, without spiking your insulin, without damaging your pancreas, without getting diabetes. So that would be the first step, is finding substitutes. Maria, what are some other things that you do or that you think we should do to eliminate sugar and still have a sweet life, as we say?
Yeah, I really, as I've talked about in the show, and that you and I have shared, that I really love sweet stuff too. And it's terrific to live in 2020 because we have so many, as you mentioned, sweet options that aren't sweetened with sugar. What's happened is they've got fibers that taste sweet, or stevia, which is a non-sugar sweetener. We're not encouraging you to ingest the artificial sweeteners, like NutraSweet or aspartame. Those are not good for you. And there's some,
or saccharin.
Those are not good for you. And there are some studies that indicate that people who drink those drinks sweetened with those actually end up eating and drinking more sugar. So, but there are plenty of monk fruit sweeteners and stevia and they're basically, a lot of them are either alcohol-based sugars, which are not digested in your body. They taste sweet, but they do not increase your blood sugar levels. So blood alcohol, that they don't increase your blood sugar levels, not blood alcohol levels, but they're alcohol-based sweeteners and also fiber-based sweeteners. So it's a good time, you can go out there and look and see, what's available. And just now the FDA requires that sugar be on a separate line, so you can see how many grams of sugar in a processed food. And, but the other thing is, just for me, I had to get rid of all of the sugary stuff in my house. I had to just go through and be ruthless. I had to throw out last year's Halloween candy. I had to, get rid of ice cream, anything, even for me, white carbs like white pasta and rice. I had to just clean up my cabinet. And then because my week time was always at night when I was tired, and I always wanted something a little bit sweet after dinner, and a little bit sweet would turn into a whole carton of ice cream and, 3 cookies, and then going to bed, just terrible for you. So I would say clean out your pantry if you're serious about this. And, I love thinking of it the way you describe it, Kelly, as it's really truly a poison. You have to think of it, as good as it tastes and as good as it briefly makes you feel, it is terrible for you in even the medium term, much less the long term. So, your grandmother was right. It causes inflammation, which of course leads to, more arthritis or bad feelings in your joints. So yeah, be serious about this. take everything sweet out of your house and throw it away. It is trash. Don't give it to your kids. Don't give it to anybody. Just throw it away.
And I'd love to talk a little bit about stevia because that is one of my definite huge hacks. And stevia is made from a plant. It is 100 times sweeter than sugar. The Indians have used it for eons. It's a green plant. If you grow stevia in your backyard and you crunch up the leaves or put it in your mouth, it tastes super sweet. Monk fruit is another natural sweetener, xylitol. But the FDA did not approve stevia as a sweetener because the sugar lobbyist would not allow stevia to be approved as a sweetener. So it's called a food additive or a supplement. It's finally making its way to the tables of a restaurant. I think some Starbucks are carrying it. It's in a green little packet, like you've got, saccharin, which is in the pink packet, and then you've got, I think, sucralose, which is in the blue packet. You've got sugar, which is in the white packet, or sugar, which is in the brown packet. And raw sugar means nothing. It's all sugar. But stevia is in the green packet. It's natural. It's been around. It does not spike your blood sugar. It's very sweet. I use it in my coffee in the morning, so I have a nice sweet coffee with stevia. One stevia is very sweet. My favorite soft drink is Zevia with a Z, which is basically sweetened with stevia, but it's got all the flavors. So they've got Cokes and 7-Ups and Dr. Peppers and Mountain Dews and strawberry flavor and what do Mark and I fight over? Black cherry, ginger ale, root beer, all of those in Zevia. And there are other brands, but Zevia seems to be our favorite. And that we'll eat dinner and then we'll have a Zevia, and it is super sweet, super delicious, super light, in addition to all the other things. But stevia is a safe, sweet alternative. You can bake with it. It's in Swerve. So there are a lot of baking alternatives. Like one of my favorite things to make is like a banana nut bread. And I will use Lily's zero sugar chocolate chips. I'll make chocolate chip banana nut chocolate chip bread with a Swerve sweetener and the 0-calorie chocolate chips. And you can eat a big piece of banana nut chocolate chip bread with, 1/4 of the grams of sugar if you know where to find the right substitutes for these. So once you clear out your pantry from all the unhealthy stuff, then you can substitute the Swerve, the stevia, the monk fruit, other sweeteners that you can reach to when you are going to, like I told Maria when we started this, I don't want to be on a non-sweet diet. I mean, I like to have something sweet during the day at, some point. And I just call these, safe sweeteners.
Yeah, I that's actually absolutely right. The Swerve is made from, I think, stevia and Xylitol. Yes, which is a good it may have a little sugar in it, but it's a mixture that bakes well and doesn't spike your blood sugar. And I'm not sure if I made it clear that if stevia had been approved as a sweetener, then all those other sweeteners would literally go out of business. If stevia is ever labeled a sweetener, then sugar will go away, saccharin will go away, sucralose and aspartame. Those are poisons, and those would be off the shelves because the lobbyists in Washington, they are fighting that stevia will never be labeled a sweetener. And so many people don't even know about stevia. Well, yeah, I think stevia is absolutely one of the answers to how do I eat something sweet question. But I think people also, again, need to understand that, they've done sugar, fructose, glucose combination is truly, it is addictive. They've done functional MRIs where they measure, like they show what parts of your brain light up when you eat fructose as sugar. And they can put it right next to a brain that has actually ingested cocaine. And the pleasure centers are the same for some people. Not everybody has this kind of a response, but I do. And I mean, I know I do. Like when I eat sugar, my eyes roll back in my head and I feel amazing for about, 10 minutes. And so, I think thinking of it, for me, thinking of it that way is very, very helpful, that I just really must avoid it. And since I have been, I am so much healthier, and my energy level, it's just amazing. I used to think that everybody had to take a nap in the afternoon. No, for me, that was just a product of my sugar roller coaster lifestyle. And so anyway, that it's dangerous, it's addictive, and there are alternatives. You don't have to live a life without sweetness. I think that is that's our message. And we'll try to put some of these alternative sweeteners in the show notes, as we said, but there's lots out there now, thanks in part to the rise of the keto diet, which is very low carb, where there's just tremendous numbers of fiber-based, sugar alcohol-based, sugar alcohol-based and stevia-based sweeteners that will not do that to your body and your brain, will not cause the damage that sugar does to your body and your brain.
Yeah, and there's healthy gums. I mean, if you like to chew gum, there's natural, anti-cavity gums that you can chew that are made with xylitol that are really healthy for chewing. So we'll put a list.
Erythritol was the other one I was thinking. Erythritol is another. Yeah.
That's another really good one. And Maria, we've talked about this on the show before. It's just kind of a trait of champions, and I agree with you that one should just, if you're going to do something 98% of the way doesn't work, you got to do things 100% of the way. So I think by just avoiding sugar altogether, not having a piece of cake at a birthday party, I literally find that to be revolting. And we just passed Halloween, and I'm at the big box store, and I passed the bag of 100 little Mounds bars and Reese's. I think Reese's peanut butter cups are the most popular candy in America. So I passed that thing, and I think, I know we're going to get trick-or-treaters, in our neighborhood. We've recently moved, but this new neighborhood is definitely a trick-or-treater type neighborhood.
The houses are close together.
Yeah, the houses are close together, and there are a lot of families. And so, and I just couldn't do it. I literally thought, I'm going to turn off my lights and not be home or just sit in the back and, work, because I don't want to give kids sugar. I just think it's awful. And if I could find something, I'm trying to come up with something that kids won't, hate me for if I hand them I'm not going to hand out apples, but I don't know what I could come up with, but I just couldn't give them sugar, and I just don't want to do it.
Yeah. And I that's a very serious thing. And I don't understand. Well, I did it, my kids growing up, of course we did Halloween, we ate sugar. And I'm just going to plead ignorance, because I didn't know how bad it was for you. Would you hand little bags of marijuana to the kids if they came,
No, or little bags of cocaine.
No.
It's literally it's truly awful. And so let's talk about
maybe that's
Reese's
too serious. I'm wondering what people
I don't think it is. I'm not. I mean, I'm a zealot. I'm preaching. I just, I'm an evangelist with anti-sugar. Now, I will say chocolate Reese's peanut butter cups were my favorite thing. And so what I do for my Reese's peanut butter cup fix, get your favorite organic peanut butter that doesn't have sugar. So it's just basically ground up peanuts. That peanut butter, get a Lily's dark chocolate bar, or even a Lily's milk chocolate bar, 0 grams of sugar, super sweet. You make a little, 2 little bars of the chocolate and layer it inside with regular peanut butter and eat that. And it's delicious. It tastes like a Reese's peanut butter cup with 0 grams of sugar. And when we can eat that, why eat something that's going to spike your insulin, hurt your pancreas, make you addicted, and then you're going to have a sugar crash within a half an hour and be feeling horrible. I call them food comas, where you're in a food coma because your body has been you've been poisoned. So I'm sorry, I'm going off the deep end, but I can't. It's just I hope we've impressed how awful sugar is, and yet what other great alternatives are out there to still be able to eat something sweet.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, it's still a little countercultural, but I think if the nutritionists and the government is honest, we'll, in the next, 10 or 20 years, we'll see even more of the bad news about sugar coming out. But there's a big, again, I'm not into conspiracy theories, but there's a big reason why sugar is in everything. The fructose actually can help foods remain fresh. It's kind of acts as a preservative, and it tastes good and it's addictive. So, I mean, if you're a company making, a product that you want people to buy over and over and over again, add some sugar. It's addictive. And so, but I also want to say something about my personal experience of trying to kick sugar. It was really hard. I was in I would even say almost a depression for 6 weeks, just thinking, oh, I can't have sugar. I mean, and I would eat the alternatives, a little bit of sweet here or there, but my sugar thermostat was up so high that unless it was like super sweet, it wasn't enough for me. And I know this happens with people kicking other addictions. Like they actually go through a period of sadness and depression. They just don't know if life will be good without sugar. And I'm here to say it's great. And, with these little hacks that Kelly has sort of taught me, but it is difficult to give it up, especially if you're really, like for me, for many, many years, eating a tremendous amount of sugar every day. People talk about their soda, their, canned soda habit. It's really hard to kick it, but it can be done, and it's worth it for your health, your beauty, your family, your kids. And that
your
would be
pancreas,
your pancreas, your kidneys.
limbs.
Yeah. Your limbs. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think you alluded to that I wanted to it's anecdotal, but it's real in my life is, we just lost my mom, your mother-in-law,
Right.
your husband's mom, to Alzheimer's. And, there's no history of Alzheimer's in our family, but my mom was a little sugar carbo baby who, she loved her angel food cake. And I remember later in her life when she got into her 80s, she started really getting cognitively demented in like her mid 80s, but she would have little Debbies hidden around the house and chocolate brownies and coffee cakes. And she was just like in that mode of a lot of seniors where they're attracted to sugar and they just eat a lot of sugar. And I really believe that the plaques and tangles that, she died of Alzheimer's, and when and she was beautifully had donated her brain to science. And when they did the autopsy on her brain, she had a lot of plaques and tangles where, they believe that could be type 3 diabetes. So as a woman in my 50s that doesn't want to get Alzheimer's, and, I'm sure we have listeners out there that are, 40s and 50s that could back off their sugar. And maybe we don't know what causes Alzheimer's, but sure doesn't hurt to not eat sugar if that could be one thing that might protect me from getting Alzheimer's.
Yeah, there's so many reasons. Alzheimer's and cancer. I've often told the story of my sister who died from brain cancer. At the end of her life, all she wanted to do was eat sugar. And I swear, this is not scientific, but the way I think of this mentally is that cancer, lots of cancers love sugar. And that cancer was just growing and feeding, and she ate nothing but carbs and sugar and sugar and sugar. And I'm not blaming her cancer on eating sugar. She had a very healthy diet, but once the cancer was there, I think it really changed, her appetite for sugar, because cancer loves sugar. So another thing to think about. Anyway, we've done, this has been a scare tactic. Well,
I don't know that it's scary, but I know there have been the two stories that we've told about my mom and your sister are anecdotal. However, we absolutely know that there is real evidence that's proven and studied that when people are prone to seizures, especially kids that have, that are having multiple seizures every day, and they go off of carbs and off of sugar, their seizures cease. So there is definitely something happening in the brain when sugar and carbs are taken away, something that helps that inflammation that may be causing, the seizures. So that's real. There is a connection between the amount of sugar and carbs one eats and the brain's functionality.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, we know a diet high in sugar causes all kinds of things, but the science is out there. We'll have in the notes a couple of websites that are more scientific than Kelly or I are, but that convinced us that we needed to take drastic action in our own lives to avoid sugar, and we're encouraging others to do the same.
Yes. So anyway, that's going to be a wrap, Maria. I hope that we haven't gone. What do they say? We've gone from preaching to meddling.
We absolutely have. I don't think there's a middle ground for sugar, though. At least it wasn't for me.
No.
So,
No.
I
don't think there is.
And we should add too that we do health coaching. If you're having trouble with sugar, we'd be happy to help you through those difficult weeks to try to get off of it. So you can contact us. You can go to our website, championsmojo.com, and contact us about that.
Yes, we can be your anti-sugar coaches.
That's right. All right,
Kelly. All right, Maria.
Love you so much. Thanks for inspiring me.
Thank you for inspiring me. Love you. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Champions Mojo podcast with host Kelly Palace and Maria Parker. Champions Mojo is produced by Cabra Media, and a new episode debuts every Tuesday. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Follow Champions Mojo on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook @Champions Mojo.